All right. Additional thoughts on Veteran by JPEGMAFIA. So much to talk about. I'm very excited. A couple things to start with. New Year's happened. I was out in the desert in Mojave. My dad's got a place. We all go out there. We ride dirt bikes and shoot fireworks and burn all the Christmas trees and big bonfire. It's literally out in the desert. There's no electricity. You have to bring generators. There's no running water. So it's great. It's a great time. Obviously, digitally isolated. Can't get online and stuff like that except for your phone. But I don't do shit on my phone. So I'm out there in the desert. I come home. I'm checking some stuff when I get back. And people were saying, hey, man, JPEG posted you. He linked you. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? And sure enough, if you go to JPEGMAFIA's YouTube page and you click on the community tab, there's a link to my reaction video on his page, which is just fucking awesome. It's so cool, man. And I have to assume that Peggy watched my reaction. I hope that he did. Peggy, if you did, if you're watching this, thank you so much. That was, I mean, that's just killer. That's killer. Which leads me into the next thing that I want to talk about. So often I get asked, doing these reactions, these albums, what's been your favorite album? What's the best album? All these different things. And it's very hard to answer that question because I've done so many albums, well, not really a lot of albums, but the albums I've done have been so high quality, yet so incredibly different. Yeezus is not Whole Lotta Red. Whole Lotta Red is not To Pimp a Butterfly. To Pimp a Butterfly is not Money Store. Money Store is not Frank Ocean Blonde. Blonde is not Veteran. Like, there's just been such a variety. And so to try and pick out the best one or even my favorite one, to me, they're all non-comparisons because they're all really good at what they do. But I can say that in terms of my initial experience with an album, this has been the most enjoyable for me. And just somehow, I think a lot of it plays into the fact that I have heard Blonde. I have heard Money Store. I have heard some of these other albums that kind of put me in a space where the sound that JPEG has made here, it didn't throw me off. I've become comfortable enough with some of these fringe things that are going on. Not to say that Blonde is necessarily fringe, but Death Grips was just fucking wild. Every song was like, what the hell is going on? And this one too, but there was something about this that was different from Money Store. It felt like Money Store was trying to throw me off, I guess. But this was something different. And so now I'll go into my next, I guess, portion is I feel like Veteran is a very dark and angry, distorted parallel to Frank Ocean's Blonde. And I'm so glad that he even referenced that album in one of the tracks. I mean, it's just like a half line. I think it's DJ Snitch, bitch, is where that reference comes in. And there is a reference too where he's talking about something about Kanye going blonde. I'll never be blonde like Kanye. And I feel like it's like a pre-reference. I don't know if it is or not, but. And now I'm going to make a lot of parallels between this album and Blonde. And when I do this, I want everybody to understand I'm not trying to say that Peggy tried to copy Frank Ocean or anything like that. Okay, I think this is his own music, but I think there's some parallels. The one distinct difference, though, between those two albums, obviously from the sound, aside from the sound, is if you listen to Blonde and everything that's happening in that album and everything that Frank Ocean is talking about, it is very much an internal struggle. He is struggling with his sexuality. He's struggling with this idea of who he's supposed to be versus who he actually is. And these two versions of himself are just constantly colliding in his head and puts him through this kind of spiral where he finally crashes. Where is it? In Nights. Kind of hits the bottom. Actually, that's not really the bottom, I think, in that album. I would think Solo Reprise, which has turned in, I think, to one of my favorite tracks ever. There's something about that track that's magical. But throughout the whole album, he is struggling with these internal conflicts, and then he comes through on the other side. Veteran is not. Veteran it's almost like the inverted portion of Blonde, where the impression I get from Peggy At least the person that exists within this album, whether that's him or not. It doesn't really matter. You know, this is just what's being portrayed, and so this is what I pick up from the art that's been created. I feel like Peggy, or the character that exists as the veteran in this album, is very comfortable with who he is. I think very much so. I know who I am, and I'm fine. It's all the external shit that's driving me absolutely crazy. Whether it's the alt-right, whether it's libtards, whether it's ex-gangster rap that need more cars and more flash. He's lashing out at so much shit. And this album is such a wonderful ride of just frustration and anxiety and being fed up with everything, but trying to find an escape and never finding the escape, which is why it ends so differently than something like Blonde, where Blonde, he kind of comes through and you almost feel like this sigh of relief and he finally accepts who he is. Here, for Peggy, there's nothing to accept. He is who he is. He's very comfortable with who he is and maybe even happy, but you just can never get away from the external shit. And it's just amazing. It's amazing. I had so much fun listening to this album. I've probably listened to it another 10 times. And my God, man, I don't think I said it in the actual reaction video, but when I got to, I think it was Damn, and then Baby I'm Bleeding, I thought in my head, okay, buckle up. 5-point harness, strap in, because we're going for a fucking ride. Like, this album is just going to go. And I was so excited. I was so excited. And the progression that happens too, I don't remember all the lyrics. You know, I'm looking at the track list and I honestly don't know why, because to me, this is not an album of individual tracks. This is a full body that exists in a cohesive unit. And it kind of reminds me of Pink Floyd's The Wall in a bit, because I love that album, but anytime I make a playlist, if I try and take certain tracks out, they can't exist on their own. It's like trying to take blood out of the body and tell the blood, okay, now just be blood. And the blood goes, I can't do that. I need to be in the body to be blood. There are so many tracks that are just fantastic for what they are, but they're all integral workings of the album. And when he finally crashes and hit panic emoji and starts going through that, and then you get into fucking Rainbow Six, and it's just this dark, heavy sound. He's repeating these lyrics. I feel like he's just puking up all of this crap that's been piling up inside of him. All of this crap that he's trying to deal with or avoid or lash out at, but nothing goes away because it's all external. It's all external to him. And there's no way to resolve that. It never goes away, which is why I also think this album is very much a cycle, just a repeating cycle of him going through this. And the wild sounds of fucking clicks and the pops and all the shit, it just feels like anxiety, just constant anxiety building up. It's just, oh my God, it was amazing. It was amazing. Now, in terms of people listening to this album, I can get why people don't get into this, because it would be hard to play this to the average listener and tell them that this is music, because they're going to go, no. So in that respect, I don't really necessarily recommend this to just anybody. However, if you are a person who's trying to make music, or if you know someone who's trying to make music and you've never listened to this album, this, in my opinion, is a mandatory listen. You must listen to this album, because what's happening within these 19 tracks, it will blow out the walls of your own creative limits. I feel like anytime I get into something that's creative, I automatically fall into these strange preconceived notions of what I can and cannot do. And they're not my own ideas. I just feel like, oh, it's kind of like, you know, a Minecraft reference. Like you're gonna build something in Minecraft. Oh, well, it's gonna have 4 walls and a roof or whatever. But that's just like this weird like you can build whatever you want. There's no rules, there's no limits. There's just whatever you want to build, you can build. But I always find myself automatically locking into just this general idea of what a certain building is supposed to be. And I feel like that exists probably in any artistic form. If you're going to paint something, you got to paint this way or that way, or music, same thing. This album just takes those limits and just fucking blows them out. Like dynamite on the walls, exploding outward. It's fucking fantastic. It's fantastic. I don't know what else to say. This has been, in terms of videos that I've listened to for the first time, my most enjoyed experience. I absolutely loved it. This is one where I wish I could go back and listen to it again for the first time. I would just listen to it over and over again for the first time because goddamn, what a ride. What a ride. I guess that's it. I don't really have anything too specific to say. I mean, it's just incredible. The lyrics, I mean, I can't. I'll just start repeating myself. But there you go. I know this is, maybe it's a little generic. I don't know, maybe not. But it's kind of a shorter video. I'm only at 11 minutes right now. But man, just loved the shit out of it. Loved the shit out of it. There you go. Friday, you wonderful little Kanye fans, you finally get some more of your music. Graduation, Friday. I have headphones now. Oh yeah, so I used headphones for this video. I think that was a big difference maker. I'm going to do that going forward. Headphones from now on. Man, good times. Thank you, JPEG. Fucking wonderful album. I look forward to doing the rest of your work and hearing it for the first time. I can't wait. I can't wait, man. All right, you guys. I'll see you.